welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Vanelli. Now, our topic today is how to enhance or bring out color in natural light photos by using the advanced contrast tool. So I'm going to show you this real quick. So this is going to be the image that we'll end up with. So here's before. Look at this. And here's after. Huge difference. So, and I'm going to show you how I did that. And the number one tool I used was the advanced contrast. And I'll use the other tools too to finish off the look, but that is the number one tool to actually bring out more color and more of the details and more contrast in the image. All right. Now, before we begin, let's take a moment and thank our partners, Fujifilm. Fuji reminds us to stay safe, stay creative, and stay at home. All right, and we're back. All right, so let's dive right in. Hello, everyone. Welcome. There's a lot of people from Trinidad. Let's see, where was it? Japan. There's so many people. Big Mac, it's good to see you again. All right, guys, let's dive right in. So here I am. Now, let me bring up the light tool or the highlighter. I'm going to come down to my history tool. Now, before we go any further, let me show you exactly what we're actually doing here, okay? So, we're going to use quite a bit of tools. And let me come down. I have that on the advanced layer. Here we go. Down here. Here we are. All right, so these are going to be the tools we'll be using all the way through here. And then for the creative tools, glow is going to help us out quite a bit. But the most important tool we want to focus on is the advanced contrast. Look at this. Without it, that's what it looks like. And that's what it's going to do for us. All right. So let's come down here and start with the original. Oh, actually, let's start with the crop version. There we go. So here's the crop version we'll be starting with. Now, I like to begin using a base look. So I'm going to come over to the essential looks, and I'm already going to use the AI image enhancer because these are the tools I'll usually start with: light, AI enhancer, and color. So why not automatically put those in? So I start with that right away and just do a little tweaking. Let's go to the blacks. Here we go. And we'll come back to the color to enhance it even further. But we'll come right back to this in a little bit. So here it is before and after. And it does a very good job. But let's come down here to the Pro Tools first. And here's the advanced contrast. Highlights are going to take care of the flower itself. So let's crank that way up. And in doing that, look at this. I can control the highlight balance. Midtones, look what it's doing to the background. Good. So to make the flower stand out more, we'll also darken the background, and that's where shadows and midtones come in. Look at this. Ooh. You see how it's going to make the color pop? Awesome. Look at that. So, before and after. All right? I mean, how cool is that? So that one tool right here made a huge difference. Now, let's take it a few steps further. I'm going to come back up to the advanced, or to the essential tools. And from here, I want to apply structure, but I want to do structure a little bit differently. If I bring structure out like this, notice what it's doing to the background. The flower looks good, but the background looks horrible. What I really want to do is bring it to a negative. Ooh, look what it's doing to the flower. It's giving that a softer look. We'll boost up the intensity of it. So what I really want to do is soften the background area. Now I want to come back and increase the flower itself. So I want to get the flower looking a little bit better too. So, excuse me. So let's do the flower. Ready? I'll come down to Detail Enhancer. Now in the past, I used to start with small. Rich Harrington turned me on to this. Start with medium, because that's going to be the bulk of the sharpening. It's going to make everything appear a lot sharper. And then for detail, small details, I'll bring it out. That's it. And large detail, just a touch. Great. Now, here's the key. We did this. I love what it's doing to the flower. So let's zoom into 100%. All right, so here's the flower. Before, after. All right, so it's doing a decent job of the flower. And there's a lot of digital noise, which we're going to clean up. In fact, you know what? Before I go to this next step, let's clean up the digital noise real quick. I'm going to be really aggressive with it. Let's see. And it's still processing. There we go. Look at that. Oh, God. That looks real. It looks soft, soft and silky. Now, let's go back up to the Detail Enhancer. Now, I love what it's doing to the flower. Not a fan of what it's doing to the background. So, let's apply a radial mask. But we're going to do something a little bit different. Notice the mask right now took away the sharpness on the flower. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to invert the mask. Now if I show the mask, notice only the flower is going to have the Detail Enhancer result settings applied to it. There it is. So before, after, good. Now you know what? I'm going to dial it back just a little bit because I think excuse me, I may have got a little aggressive with it. Ooh, I like that. All right, great. Now, once I'm done here, we'll come back to the vignette in a little bit, but I do want to try something, and that's the dehaze effect. So what dehaze is going to do, we'll go overboard just so you can see it. It brings out the hidden colors in the image, and it removes what's turned, well, haze, removes the haze in the image itself. Here, there's not so much haze, but I don't want to go overboard, but just a touch of it brings out more color, and it takes down the background just a little bit. There we go, before and after. It's just that little, excuse me, minor touch. And now, I'm going to come down to the creative tools. Here's glow and soft focus. So with a soft focus, I want to bring it out. However, I want to darken the image. There we go. And let's bump up the softness or the smoothness of it. Ooh, I love what it's doing to the background. Not a fan of what it's doing to the flower. So let's mask that out. And right about here. There we are. Before, after. How cool is that? All right. Now, well, you know what? Let's go back up. Traditionally, we apply a vignette. Let's do it and see what happens. If it's going to add, okay, it is going to add to it. So we'll come in and we'll apply this. Get a little sharpening, or the amount, and then of course the feathering. Let's feather the daylights out of it. Good. Let's see if it makes a difference. Ready? Before. Yep, it does. But I don't want to do too much of it. Right about here. All right, there we go. So before. Done. Here we go. Before and after. Let me move me out. One more time. Here it is, before, after. I mean, that is amazing. And it only took us about 5 minutes to do that. So were there a lot of steps to it? Kind of. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to come back again. And if we only did, let's go right back to the crop version. If this is what you were faced with, and you came over to the looks and said, okay, you know what? Let's check out some of the landscapes. And if you looked at the landscape and you thought, okay, let's warm this up a little bit. Let's see what this does. Okay, not bad. Look, before and after, it did a decent job on it. Let's say for the essentials, this is where the Dehaze helped me out a lot. Look at that. You click on this and you realize, oh, that's not bad at all. Or, and my buddy Nick was showing me this earlier this afternoon. So you got that part down, and then you come to the creative tools, and maybe you apply mystical. And with mystical, you brought the shadows in. And last but not least, you just did what we did earlier with the highlights. Mid-tone, you just mess with it. And the shadows. There we go. All right, and here's a different variation, before and after. So now that's a different variation to it. Now I did come in and create my own look. So let me get to it. It was called Water Lily. Yep, right here. And here's my own look that I created earlier. And the only difference is, what we would do is we would come in. There it is. For glow, remember I did the radio mask, and you remember when we saved looks, when you're saving a look, it does not save. Let me try that again. When you save a look, it doesn't save any of the masking features. All right. So the masking tools are something you have to redo. Let me come back here. There we go. That's it. And then, of course, the only other area that I didn't was the detail enhancer. Radio mask again. Oh, wrong one. So I'm going to cancel out of that. There we go. And I'm going through this very fast because I want to show you that it doesn't have to take a long time to do this. Go right back to here. There we go. All right, it didn't remove it. So I'll do this. There we go, now it did. And invert it. Good, now I got the detail on just the flower. And we're done. All right, I mean, so for me to do this, it probably took, I would say, 15 minutes. And you saw how I went through it. Just say, okay, well, I know the key I want to work with, the number one tool I want to make a huge difference with is the advanced contrast. That's my number one tool I wanted to show for this tutorial. All right. So once I knew what that was going to do, then I went back through and just used some of the other tools to touch it up. Do you have to be an expert at all that? No. That's why you have myself, other photographers from all around the world creating those custom looks for you to where it's a starting point. You click on it, you get the image to where you like what it looks like, and then you go back and enhance it and give it your own flavor. So that's something you can do when you want to use it for, let's say, in a camera club, you're doing a camera club contest. Then you would take the extra time to do what we just did. So again, that's one way of using the advanced contrast to pull that extra color out into your images. All right. So, wow, we have a lot of people visiting in here. Yes, and Julie brought out a good point and said, it's important to remember to use the mask Because keep in mind, that mask tool, what's the cool thing about the masking is you're able to do global changes on the entire image, and then you use your mask just to fine tune them. And who knows, I mean, like all of you do know, I mentioned this throughout the last couple of weeks, my brother just recently passed away. I'm going to use this image in one of the slideshows for him. So when I was designing this, I did it for us. Excuse me. I did it for us, and then I realized, you know what? That would look really good in a memorial service to where I could have that up there because Tommy loved water, and I'll put Tommy Vanelli, Celebrate Me Home is our theme of this. So that's something that I can apply and use it, and use this here for the memorial service. So again, look at things, look at what you have, and when you're editing, learn to look past what you see and what you want it to look like. So it may not look exactly the way you want it in the beginning. Tweak it to where you get it to looking the exact way you want. All right? Well, hey, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Vanelli, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.